Hello everyone. I'm Neil. I'm from ZKLINK. I'm basically the PR lead of and also communications, and I'm here to present to you today about ZKLINK. And we are basically the multi-chain layer 3 infra for high performance ZK apps. So before I begin, I'd just like to show you guys what we built out in the last year. We've had about 90 over strategic partnerships, and we've integrated with over 60 networks. And during our experience with testing out our mainnet, we've got 2 million people, and from that, it encouraged 3 dev teams to build 3 different ecosystem apps on us, and I guess they kind of really like what we built, because the community that we got from it was well, this is a little bit old, 310K. We're not 380K now, and we have about 300K Discord followers. So a little bit story of how we got here, guys. Mainly comes down to the problem which we're trying to solve, which is basically a lot of pain points that we see happening in decentralized exchanges. The first and foremost problem here is liquidity fragmentation, where liquidity is siloed across blockchains. We also saw that for developers, they had a lot of problems with deploying multi-chain, where you had to discover, you had to go really deep into discovering a new language of different chains. And then, of course, when you do multiple chain deployments, it is a security concern, and not to mention the high resource cost that is associated with deploying on different chains. So what we've done is that we try to envision an entire future of what happened if you could access thousands of chains from one deployment, and it is secured by the paramount of DeFi security, which is ZK proofs at this case. And that's when we built out ZKLINK. So this is a little bit lot to take in, but ZKLINK basically has 2 products that we do this by. We've got a layer 3, and we've also got a layer 3 and also a layer 2.5 as the settlement layer, and then followed by the whole execution layer, the sequencer layer, and D8 layer. The thing here to notice is that with the layer 3 that we have on ZKLINK Nexus, you could build your dApp chain on top of the layer 3, and then you could fully customize your entire app protocol so that you could have very niche and custom specifications for your dApp. In some cases, you're going to need some high. If your dApp's like an NFT marketplace, you're going to need some high frequency trades, and also the same thing going on if you're an exchange. So you're going to need to to customize different areas inside the TSZK VM, and of course you could also improve your data storage with your DA layer, and also you could eventually change up the sequencer. So we do 2 things. We've got first a layer 3. The layer 3 is basically a ZK rollup multi-chain layer 3, where it sits on top of other layer 3s, and that connects you to the likes of ZK Sync, Scroll, and then Scroll, Polygon ZK EVM, and eventually it goes back down to Ethereum. And we all know, if you're familiar with ZK proofs, 1 ZK proof on Ethereum mathematically equals 1 ZK proof on another ZK rollup like Scroll. But if you're on a layer 3, 1 ZK proof mathematically equals into 1 ZK proof across multiple layer 2s and ZK rollups. So you can imagine the impact and power that this layer 3 has. The next thing here that we have here is a ZKLINK Origin, which is a layer 2.5. This layer 2.5 is basically it's a settlement layer which connects to both Optimism rollups and parallel EVMs through a translator that we have inside. We call it a light oracle network, a ZK oracle, and we've done this. In order to achieve this, we've developed our own proof called a multiple asset recursive proof validator, I think. And you could check all of these out in a technical documents, but basically use a layer 3 if you want maximum security and speed, and a 2.5 if you want maximum connectivity. Here's a basic overview of our TS-ZK VM. You got your aggregation layer, your execution layer, your storage layer. I'm not going to go deep into this because it's only 5 minutes. So I'm going to go straight into what happens if you build a custom app using this TS-ZK VM, and you get a this is okay, never mind. I'll get into like the use case later. But basically, one of like the benefits you want to build on a TS-ZK VM, you have multi-chain asset and liquidity aggregation for the DeFi for the liquidity fragmentation. You've got a single deployment plug and play into multiple chains, exceptionally high speeds and low costs, and transactions and off-chain on ZK proofs, simply because the TS-ZK VM is a dApp rollup. Yeah, so I want to go straight into like the use case for what we have here, and this is a ZKEX.
Please note you have 1 minute left.
Okay, this is ZKEX. It's a multi-chain order book DEX, and that gives you basically a CEX-like user experience that's secure and efficient and easy to deploy for market makers. So what we have is, a ZK rollup for multiple ZK rollups. If you want to compare it to the Lord of the Rings, it's really one ring to rule them all. So tokenomics here, it's we use it for gas, governance, proof of markets, and a rollup infra license fee. And on our roadmap, we're finishing up building out the ZK VM circuit and extension, and we've got other technical upgrades coming along in the roadmap. We've also got some ecosystem support for liquidity and also developers. Feel free to check out our socials to find out more. And of course, we've got about 16 networks here. I believe it's 17 as of last week. And we are backed by some of the best. We've got Oriole Ventures in here, Coinbase, Huobi, and with the likes of Crypto.com as well. So I want to leave you guys here with this, right? We're building basically the blockchain of value. This is the multi-chain layer 3 built for high-performance ZK dApps. And if any of you are interested into finding out more about ZKLINK, feel free to send me a DM or follow us on our socials. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. It was a truly remarkable showcase, and the future is ZK, I believe. I see we have one.
ZKLINK.
Hey, let's go! You heard it, folks. I see we have a question coming up from Nir from Mirchwave. I will bring him on stage. Nick, come and join us. Please check your microphone. I believe you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Just found
Welcome.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah. Hi, Neil. Hope you're doing great. Thanks for your presentation. And I have a question about the type of the ZK proofs, because you're connected to so many networks. So what are basically the types of the ZK proofs? Are you using Snarks, Starks, bulletproofs, some combination of them? Because different networks use different proofs and the top types of encryption. So wondering about that.
Yep. The short answer to that is ZK Snarks. Right, that's actually how we started building this out in the first place. We intended to only keep it to ZK based products, right? And but eventually we found out that the market wanted more connectivity, so we had to develop our own a proof validity system, right? It's called the MARPV, which stands for multiple asset recursive proof validation. I don't want to go too much here into the details in this presentation. But feel free to check it out on the docs, or you can message me on Telegram. Not a worry.
Yeah, thanks. It would be awesome to know. And also, I see we have a second question. It was interesting for me and interesting for someone else from our judges. So how do you attract builders to ZKLINK, and what basically is the go-to-market strategy for ZKLINK in general?
Thank you for that question. So there are two things here. From what I understand, it's both a marketing question and a developer question here for the ecosystem. I'll start with the developer ecosystem. We've got essentially a community developer incentive program coming up in the pipeline, where we deliver a lot of support for new developers to come inside. Part of this involves training, part of this involves access to liquidity, part of this involves access to resources that like some developer teams do not have. We have that in the pipeline coming up. It's going to come out somewhere in Q2. But in terms of like our go to market strategy, like we're launching a token first. In fact, right now we are in the middle of a coinless token community token sale, which will be out tomorrow. And following that, we will be having a TGE coming in at Q1 2024, somewhere around the time of like late March. As for like yeah, I don't know. I think I answered both questions, right?
Yeah, seems so. Thank you for your answers.
Yeah.
And like we have the other questions. Kaya, would you answer it?
Absolutely. Thank you, Nick. One question from my side. Let me see where I wrote it down. I strongly believe that utilizing privacy systems is a key to onboard institutional money flows to drive the adoption. For example, through private transactions, which is an amazing use case that can be enabled through zero-knowledge technology. Are you mapping out to bring such features on ZKLINK?
Yes, that's a really important question, right? I think there is a lot of debate on anonymous transactions happening and proving systems with ZK, right? Like I think the biggest use case here in the space, and what's quite arguably talked about, is not just is basically identification proving. It's a solution which can be adopted by both governments and banks when it comes to real use cases. The short answer for us here is that yes, we do intend to get this ongoing here. But I think this is also like something that's that other projects are working on. We want to focus on building out trading infrastructure first, which is what we set out to do in the first place. But because we have such a robust TS ZK VM, we noticed that we can actually take it a lot bigger than just trading. This could mean that we could start making NFTs and NFT marketplaces, central limit order books, AMMs. We can even create like a roll up as a service type of offering in our product. And I think along the way, as the technology improves over the next couple of years, we definitely see a crossover between institutional use cases and also for the masses.
Lovely. Thank you for elaborating on that. Ivan, welcome back.
Thank you. I have a little question about decentralized sequencer service. You mentioned it. So could you briefly explain to us in simple words what is this service about and what its potential? Thanks.
Okay, thank you for the question. So decentralized sequences. I mean, sequences are sort of like the holy grail of sequencer, like in the whole like architecture, right? As far as I'm aware, right, right now we intend to decentralize the sequences later on, but for now it will be centralized. I think a lot of it hinges on the future technology, but we are in talks with decentralized sequencer providers. Let me just bring that up really quickly.
Just to clarify, we're on the same page. It's in your slide, right? Or coming up on another screen, Neil?
No, it's on the slide, I guess. It's
okay. We briefly spoke about it on the slide, right? But like we didn't leave any sort of like partnerships in there, mainly because a lot of this is very hush hush. But I think like the top three, if like the top three decentralized sequencer providers, we are already speaking to. So like I think like for the sake of like for the sake of confidentiality, that's as much as I can tell you guys.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Ivan, I believe you have one more question from Majinx. Would you like to ask that one?
I think yes. You mean that one? A very strong track record. What are ZKLINK looking for now to strengthen in the Web3 market?
Okay, I'm glad that you brought that up. Thank you for the question. I think earlier Kaya pointed out a really important question, which was how are we introducing? Oh, sorry, it was Nick. How do we introduce more developers into the ecosystem? I think right now we are at a point where we are finalizing the TS-ZKVM circuits. So part of that right now is that now that we have done the product, we need developers to come in and help us, build on top of it. So if you're a dev team looking to build something cool on the layer 3, you're up for a challenge, do come over and check us out. You can feel free to reach out to us on our socials. We offer grants. We also offer liquidity support and also like marketing and other campaigns.
I guess. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I have
Are
one
we
more
out
final.
of time? I have. Okay.
Let's do one final question. This is I'm quite curious about it, and I believe lots of folks too. I've noticed you're using the DA of Celestia, Eigenlayer, I believe, and Polygon, which are quite hot ecosystems. But recently, I noticed that using the DA of Near Protocol is actually about 28 times cheaper. So could you elaborate why you have strategically chosen to use these DAs instead of, example, Near Protocol's DA?
Well, I mean, like we probably didn't put Near up down there because the slides only fit 3, right?
Got it.
But the reality here is that when you're building a protocol, a dApp rollup on a layer 3, one of the key things that we offer here is very high customizability, and that is entirely limited to the tech and the bridges between the protocols and the service. So the fact that Near is 28 times cheaper than the competitors, I'm sure the other competitors would have their own strengths as well. And it all depends on how specific and custom you would want your data collection to be.
Absolutely, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Fair enough. Thank you for clarifying. Considering everything, you have a remarkable project. It was a pleasure to have you on. We're also out of time, so I wish you a great evening or a good night. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Take care.